But so it's really good that we're going to have an expert with us. But he'll be here shortly. Before the break, you heard Wailing Souls, Kingdom Come and Kingdom Fall, which was a sort of after some difficulty. And Miguel, you're sort of really a sort of expert on the local scene from salsa.
Well, sort of.
And you originally come from Venezuela, is that?
Yeah, I do.
So what's the journey? How's the journey from Venezuela to Ipswich? How's that happened?
Well, it has been actually a long trip. Actually, before getting into UK, I've been living in Spain for 5 years, doing my master's degree and as well start my PhD. Then got a fellowship to come over to Scotland, and then to continue my PhD basically. Once I finished in Scotland, came down to Ipswich, working for BT, and all of a sudden I decided to resume the classes I started in Glasgow.
Right, yes, I heard that you ran classes in Glasgow. We'll go back a little bit later to sort of find out something of the classes, so people can find out where they are if they don't already know, which they probably will. But Venezuela is obviously a really big country for salsa.
It is, yeah.
I mean, obviously one thinks of Oscar de Leon and Chucho Valoy and people from Venezuela, but I guess there are a lot of other artists as well.
Yeah.
What who's say particularly big in Venezuela at the moment?
I would say it has been all the time. Oscar de Leon is number one all the time. You have of course all the artists like people like Solmar Castillo. You have as well Adolescentes. Those are the very new bands, coming. Actually, they've been supported by Coco Baloy.
Yes.
Coco Baloy, both of them. But I would say the top of the tops has always been Oscar de Leon. In Venezuela, definitely. When you're talking about serious level,
Yes.
Like, I don't know, if you can trying to compare with any other people like Celia Cruz or Tito Puente or who was Gilberto Santa Rosa, for instance.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
Definitely.
I noticed the difference between my pronunciation and yours.
Never mind.
But I mean, Venezuela's obviously there's been a number of issues in Venezuela recently. I mean, actually, I was in Grenada over the summer, and one Sunday morning, somebody told us there'd been an earthquake, 4.9 on the Richter scale that night, which I'd slept through, but actually came from Venezuela.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, that did happen.
And you've been involved, I think, in campaigning for Venezuela.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do actually with the earthquake. That was what happened last Christmas time.
Yes.
The floods, basically destroyed completely the coastline of the country, especially the central line coast, And we were actually a chair tonight at the Attic, and I have to say that I'm very happy with the result we got. We actually managed to raise quite a decent amount of money, over £1,300, and has been sent over the Red Cross.
Right, that's good. And what's the situation now?
Well, it hasn't improved that much. You have to consider I love my country, but in the Caribbean area, people are very laid back. Everything takes time. I mean, sometimes it's the lack of resources. I mean, it's perhaps for a British person it's difficult to understand, but reality there is different, It's different. It's another world. I love it anyway, but it's quite different. No, it's getting better, but perhaps I actually run all night trying to collect more money, but that's it.
Okay. I'm pleased to say Miguel's brought in a few tracks and probably fairly exclusive stuff that some of us may not have heard. But do you want to say what your first piece of music is? This
one is actually a pretty... People at the classes and at the club, they love it. Okay, it's from Puerto Rico, from El Gran Combo de Puerto Rico. It's called No Hago Más Nada. I don't do anything else,
Right, this is ICR on 105.1 and the phone number is 23664 and if you want to find out anything more about salsa or some of the things we've played, or if you want to comment on sort of the music we've been playing over the 4 weeks, please let us know. Miguel, could you backtrack that one for us again, please?
Yeah, that was El Gran Combo de Puerto Rico, and the track itself was Y No Hago Más Na.
Now, El Gran Combo have been going for many, many years, haven't they?
Oh, about 35, I would say, yeah.
Still going strong. That's pretty amazing. I mean, many bands in the Caribbean and salsa bands do go for a long time. I mean, they may change their personnel a bit, but they certainly...
Well, but you have to bear in mind that the salsa boom actually started a long time ago, I would say 50s, 40s, yeah? It started actually in Cuba with the dance song and all that stuff, declining actually, well, the Cuban song, actually. Cuban song, sorry for that mistake, yeah? And then actually... has been through an evolution, as far as I understand, yeah, mixing with jazz sounds and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And Gran Combo Puerto Rico, as far as I know, actually started being a huge success early 60s, yeah. So. And
a lot of New York salsa musicians have played jazz. I mean, people like Ray Barretto, for example, has played jazz with
Tito Puente himself.
Tito Puente himself, yeah. I mean, have all played with jazz musicians as well as with Latin artists, haven't they? So there's long been a sort of merge between the two. While the music was playing, we were talking a bit about where to get hold of music, because that is really difficult. It certainly isn't easy.
Especially if you live here in Ipswich. Yeah.
So would you like to comment about a few places where you can get things?
Well, it's definitely to get music, okay? The closer place I know, it's London. Yeah, it's London. You have to go to Mr. Bongo's. That's Poland Street in London.
Stop Oxford
it's quite close to Oxford Circus.
Very close, yeah.
And it's the main place, actually quite famous. You can go actually to the HMV shop, which is
just at the end of the road of Poland Street, in Oxford Street, yeah.
They have a Latin section there.
Yeah.
In Ipswich, unfortunately, we don't have any shops doing that. And then all the chances are, if you're traveling to Spain, you can actually get some stuff there. And definitely, if you make your way to New York or Miami, then once you're there, you'll get loads, honestly, even more than in any other Caribbean country like Colombia, Venezuela, or even Puerto Rico itself, yeah.
Really. And it's also Spain. You mentioned Spain. I mean, obviously, I have a contact who goes to Barcelona quite often and gets some back for... And they're cheaper. I mean, certainly cheaper than you get them here, which is... There aren't any internet sites or email...
you can actually get on the internet. The problem with ordering CDs over the net is you're limited to order perhaps 2 or 3, and the other thing is you might listen to samples, but unless you're very sure what you want to get, you might actually... That happened to me quite a few occasions. Okay, you spend your money, and then all of a sudden what you get is not what you thought in the first place. That happens a lot, okay? It's a risk. Yeah, it's a risk. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but...
Okay. Your next track, I think we're going back a bit of time.
We're going now to what you can call it. It's actually the derivation of salsa called Boogaloo. Yeah, became quite famous when Tito Puente, La Lupe, and Celia Cruz started in New York, and you can say it's the New York style of or New York version of salsa. It's called Boogaloo.
Great.
Yeah,
lovely. Okay, Miguel, will you perhaps backtrack the thing we heard before? Tito Rojas, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tito Rojas from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, Is he still in Puerto Rico or based in New York?
I would say most of them will be based both places. Okay, Tito Rojas, Gilberto Santa Rosa, the main actually, how do you call it, main names in salsa. Okay, I would say they're based in New York because of business. Yeah. But they will actually live in Puerto Rico, perhaps because of their families, and I don't know. I mean, they definitely will have a different way of life than ours. Definitely.
Miami too.
Miami is actually as well is becoming in the last 5-6 years a very strong. Well, from salsa viewpoint, I mean, it has always been a huge center for Cuban people living abroad.
Yes,
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, now perhaps you'd like to say a bit of things because you run regular classes and sessions. So first of all, should we mention your classes?
Yes,
When are they? And
well, classes happen on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, I mean, at Pulse, starting 7:30 for beginners, then at 8:30ish, 8:45, quite likely 9ish. It depends on how long the class goes. We're doing the Cuban wheel, which is dancing in a wheel, in a circle, swapping partners. And then at 10ish, I do the intermediate level, finishing at 11. So it's the whole night, Tuesday nights, Pulse salsa classes.
and at different levels. Or
Yeah, beginners from 7:30 till 8:49. The wheel from 9 to 10, which I recommend you to attend at least quite a few beginner classes. Because the dance demands more because it's not only dancing with the partner, it's dancing with you. Yeah. So if you pull it, just pull the whole circle. So it takes more from you, but it's more fun. And then intermediates, it's a higher level, 10ish.
And you also run things at the Attic on the first Saturday of the month?
Yeah, first Saturday of the month, we do a salsa club here in Ipswich. It's salsa night and merengue as well, playing some Latin stuff and some breaks for Spanish music, but most of the night, I would say, these breaks are at the most 10 minutes, 15 minutes for Spanish music and merengue, but most of the night is salsa. And the next one is going to be on the 4th of November at the Attic. It's 23 Helen Street in Ipswich by the Regent's Theatre, actually.
Yep.
And has been running actually quite successful, I would say. It's plenty of work though, but it's going okay.
And until the early hours of the morning, I believe.
Yeah, still 3 in the morning actually.
Oh, right. Okay, that's good. And I'm sure a lot of people know about it already, but if you don't, well, that's where you can find Miguel. The next one is a bit of African salsa.
Yeah, it's I would say it's perhaps the best band. Okay, not being Caribbean, performing salsa, as far as I understand. Yeah, they're from Senegal.
Yeah,
it's called Africando and Música en Vérité. Some French.
Right,
they speak French actually.
Great.
You know I love you.
I know that song from somewhere. It was on some compilation in the 70s or something, I think, that rhythm, but a salsa version of it. Very popular in London, Miguel, is that right?
Yeah, actually it is. And Birmingham as well, and in Ipswich as well.
Who is it?
Carlos Oliva y su sonero, yeah? And it's called Vehicle, Tu Carrito. The album is called Yayabo, Yayabo, yeah.
And where's Carlos from?
Cuba.
Right, great. Lovely. Well, we've got your final choice to come up now, and I think it's appropriate that we should have someone from Venezuela that from. Well, I would say Oscar de Leon, but you pronounce it much better.
Oscar de Leon.
Tell us about him. I mean, I think we worked out he must be getting on quite a bit now. He must be quite old.
Yeah, he is. Actually, he has been on the salsa since early 70s when he started Dimensión Latina in Venezuela. You can say that was about 1972, 1971, more or less, if I'm not that wrong. And the next track you're going to play is my favorite salsa track ever. Not only because he's Venezuelan as well, but also because it's considered to be a classic. Okay, every single place he goes on tour, people actually scream out for this track, and it's 30 years old. Right. It's called "You Will Cry."
And he still tours, doesn't he? I mean, he still comes over to UK.
Well, he has been over the last 2 years on tour, and actually this time he has been in the UK. I think it was last February, I think. Yeah.
And quite a large orchestra with him?
Well, yeah. Yeah. And he has been all over the place. Last news I heard for him, he was performing in Sweden about 2 months ago. He has been on tour all over the planet. And you can say actually, considering along all the main figures like Celia Cruz, Gilberto Santa Rosa, or José Alberto Canario, Tito Puente, you can actually include he will be the only Venezuelan within that very, I should say, selective circle. Yeah. He has been on scene for a long time. He has doing quite well.
Okay, well, thank you, Miguel, for coming in.
Thank you.
And really enjoyed the music. And, I'm sure plenty of people know about you anyway, but if they don't, they can see you at the Attic or at Powell's on Tuesday night.
Tuesday at Powell's and Saturday's the Attic, yeah.
Great, and here's Oscar de Leon.